Before we begin, please note that the information provided in this video is for educational purposes only and is not intended as a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the advice of your physician or other qualified health provider with any questions you may have regarding a medical condition. Never disregard professional medical advice or delay in seeking it because of something you have seen in this presentation. You finish dinner, push the plate away, and then it hits you. You barely tasted a single bite. You were scrolling on your phone, watching the news, maybe even answering a work email between forkfuls. And now, just 10 minutes later, you find yourself wandering into the kitchen, opening the pantry door and staring inside, not because you're hungry, but because, well, you're not even sure why. You just feel like you need something. If that sounds even remotely familiar, you are not alone. And that feeling, that disconnect, is the single biggest reason why your weight loss journey feels like you're trying to run up a down escalator. It's exhausting, it's frustrating, and it makes you feel like you're failing. But what if I told you that you haven't failed? What if I told you the entire system has failed you? Consider this staggering fact from the American Journal of Public Health. Up to 95% of all diets fail. Let me say that again. 95%. For every 20 people who start a diet on January 1st, filled with hope and determination, only one will succeed in keeping the weight off long term. That's not a statistic, that's a tragedy. It's a cycle of hope, restriction, and inevitable disappointment that has convinced millions of us that the problem is our lack of willpower, our genetics, or our love for pizza. But the problem isn't the pizza. The problem isn't your willpower. The problem is that we've been taught to fight a war against our bodies when we should have been learning to listen to them. We've been given meal plans, point systems, and lists of good foods and bad foods. We've been told to eat less and move more. But nobody ever taught us the most fundamental skill of all: how to eat. And that is exactly what we are going to change right here, right now. In this video, I'm going to introduce you to a concept so simple, yet so profoundly powerful, that it can permanently transform your relationship with food and end the cycle of yo-yo dieting forever. We're talking about mindful eating. Now, before you click away thinking this is some new age crystal-waving nonsense, let me be clear. Mindful eating isn't about chanting affirmations to your kale salad. It's not a diet. It's a skill. It's a science-backed approach to food that puts you back in the driver's seat. It's about trading distraction for awareness. It's about trading guilt for enjoyment. And most importantly, it's about trading external rules for your own internal wisdom. Think of it like this. For years, you've been trying to navigate a complex city using a torn, outdated map written in a foreign language. That's dieting. You follow the rules, you take a right turn here, a left turn there, but you're constantly getting lost, feeling frustrated, and ending up right back where you started. Mindful eating is like being handed a brand new real-time GPS. It doesn't just give you directions. It helps you understand the entire landscape. It allows you to see the traffic jams, the shortcuts, and the scenic routes. It empowers you to make your own intelligent decisions based on what's actually happening in the moment. Let me tell you about a woman named Jessica. Jessica was the classic chronic dieter. She'd done it all. Low carb, low fat, cabbage soup, keto, paleo, calorie counting apps that turned her meals into a stressful math equation. Each time she'd lose 10, maybe 15 pounds, she'd feel a surge of victory, buy a new pair of jeans, and then life would happen. A stressful week at work, a vacation, a holiday party. The old habits would creep back in, and the weight would return, often bringing a few extra pounds along with it. Jessica was convinced she was the problem. She believed she was undisciplined, that she just lacked the moral fortitude to stick to a plan. Her inner voice was a constant critic, shaming her for every cookie, for every slice of bread that wasn't whole grain. Food was no longer a source of nourishment or pleasure. It was the enemy, and her body was a battlefield. Then, out of sheer desperation, she stumbled upon the principles of mindful eating. First, she was skeptical. No forbidden foods? No calorie counting? It sounded like a recipe for disaster. But she had nothing left to lose, so she decided to try a simple experiment. The first step was just to pay attention. That was it. For her next meal, a simple chicken salad sandwich, she put her phone in another room, turned off the TV, and just sat with her food. For the first time in years, she actually looked at her lunch. She noticed the texture of the bread, the crispness of the lettuce, the savory smell of the grilled chicken. She took a bite and did something radical. She chewed it. Slowly, she put her fork down between bites. And that's when the magic happened. Halfway through the sandwich, she felt a subtle sensation in her stomach. It wasn't the uncomfortable stuffed feeling she was used to. It was a gentle, quiet signal of satisfaction, of fullness. Her automatic pilot, the one conditioned by years of clean your plate mentality, screamed at her to finish the other half. But for the first time, another voice chimed in, a quieter one. It was her body, and it was gently saying, "I'm good. We've had enough." She listened. She wrapped up the other half of the sandwich and put it in the fridge. And in that moment, nothing and everything had changed. There was no guilt, no shame, just a profound sense of discovery. She realized she had been eating on autopilot for decades, driven by the clock, by emotions, by the sheer presence of food, but almost never by actual physical hunger. Over the next few weeks, Jessica continued this practice. She started to notice her real hunger cues. She learned to distinguish between physical hunger, that slow, growing emptiness in her stomach, and emotional hunger, which often felt like a sudden, urgent craving for a specific comfort food, usually located in her head and neck. When she felt stressed, instead of reaching for the bag of chips, she started asking herself a simple question. What do I truly need right now? Sometimes the answer was a short walk. Sometimes it was a glass of water. Sometimes it was still the chips. But now she'd eat them slowly, savoring each one, and find that she was satisfied with a small handful instead of the entire bag. The weight began to come off, but that was almost a side effect. The real transformation was happening on the inside. The constant food chatter in her head went quiet. The guilt that had shadowed every meal evaporated. She started enjoying food again, from a rich piece of dark chocolate to a fresh, juicy peach. She was no longer at war with her body. They were partners. She had finally learned its language. Jessica's story isn't unique. It's the story of what's possible when you stop dieting and start paying attention. It's the secret that the multi-billion-dollar weight loss industry doesn't want you to know. Your body already has all the wisdom you need to achieve a healthy, sustainable weight. You just need to learn how to listen to it. So if you're tired of the cycle, if you're ready to ditch the food rules and the guilt, if you want to lose weight in a way that feels natural, effortless, and permanent, then you are in the right place. Over the rest of this presentation, we're going to dismantle the myths that have been holding you hostage. We will give you the practical, step-by-step tools you need to become a mindful eater, starting with your very next meal. This isn't just about changing what you eat. It's about changing how you live. It's about reclaiming your power, your pleasure, and your peace. Let's begin. To understand where we're going, we first have to get brutally honest about where we are. So let me paint a picture for you. See if this sounds familiar. It's 2:30 in the afternoon. You're in your car, parked in some random corner of a Target parking lot. The engine is off. It's quiet, except for the crinkle of a paper bag in your lap. You just came from the drive-thru. Again, you told yourself you wouldn't. You had a healthy lunch packed, still in the fridge at work. But the craving hit, that sudden, urgent, undeniable pull. So you drove here on autopilot, ordered the usual, and now you're eating as fast as you can, hunched over the steering wheel. You're not tasting the fries. You're not enjoying the burger. You're just consuming. And with every bite, a wave of shame washes over you. You feel weak, out of control. You promise yourself for the 1,000th time that tomorrow will be different. Tomorrow the diet starts for real. You finish the last bite, crumple up the evidence, and shove it deep into the trash can before anyone can see. You drive back to work, your stomach feeling heavy and your heart feeling heavier. That experience? That is the absolute opposite of mindful eating. That is mindless, automated, shame-fueled consumption. And it is the single biggest obstacle standing between you and the healthy, vibrant life you deserve. It's not about the burger. It's not about the fries. It's about the why. It's about the how. It's about the complete and total disconnect between your mind, your body, and your food. For so many of us, eating has become a secondary activity. We eat while we're driving, while we're watching TV, while we're scrolling through our phones, while we're answering emails. We are physically present, but our minds are a million miles away. We've outsourced the incredibly important job of nourishing our bodies to a subconscious autopilot that is programmed by stress, boredom, and decades of marketing. The first step in taking back control is not to throw out all the food in your pantry. It's not to download another calorie counting app. It is simply to check in, to press pause on the autopilot. And we're going to do that with a tool so simple, yet so profoundly powerful it can change your relationship with food starting today. It's called the Hunger and Fullness Scale. Imagine a scale from 1 to 10. 1 is ravenous, famished, you feel weak and your stomach is painfully empty. You might even feel a little dizzy or irritable. 10 is Thanksgiving full. You're physically ill, stuffed to the point of pain. You have to unbutton your pants and lie on the couch, groaning. Got it? 1 is empty, 10 is sick. Now let's fill in the middle. A 2 is very hungry, your stomach is growling loudly. A 3 is that first real feeling of hunger, a definite signal from your stomach that it's time to think about food. A 4 is slightly hungry. 5 is neutral. You're not hungry, but you're not full. You're perfectly in the middle. A 6 is pleasantly satisfied. The hunger is gone. You feel light and have energy. A 7 is full. You're satisfied and you know that if you kept eating you'd start to feel uncomfortable. An 8 is slightly overfull, a little uncomfortable. And a 9 is very full, bloated, and lethargic. Most of us live our lives at the extremes of this scale. We ignore our hunger signals until we're a 1 or a 2 absolutely starving, and then we eat so quickly and mindlessly that we blow past satisfaction and end up at an 8, 9, or even a 10. When you wait until you're ravenous, your body goes into panic mode. It screams, "Get energy now." Any energy. It craves high-fat, high-sugar, calorie-dense foods because it thinks it's in a famine. Your primal brain takes over. All rational thought about making a healthy choice goes out the window. You're not thinking about a salad, you're thinking about a pizza, and you're thinking about eating the whole thing as fast as possible. Then, because you're eating in this frantic state, you don't give your body time to send the "I'm full" signal. It takes about 20 minutes for your stomach to communicate with your brain that it's had enough. But when you're a 2 on the hunger scale, you can inhale 1,000 calories in 5 minutes. By the time your brain gets the message, it's too late. You're already painfully stuffed. This is the binge and bust cycle. You starve yourself, then you stuff yourself. Your blood sugar goes on a wild roller coaster ride. Your energy levels crash, and you're filled with guilt and regret, which just fuels the next round of restriction and eventual binging. It's a physical and psychological prison. Mindful eating offers you the key to escape. The goal is to live in the middle of the scale. The sweet spot is to start eating when you're a 3 or a 4, when you feel those first gentle signals of hunger, and to stop when you're a 6 or a 7 when you're pleasantly satisfied, not stuffed. This is revolutionary. It sounds simple, but it's the entire game. Here is your first mission. It's the only thing I want you to focus on between now and the next part of this journey. Before you put a single piece of food in your mouth, whether it's a full meal or a tiny snack, I want you to stop. Take one deep breath and ask yourself, on a scale of 1 to 10, where is my hunger right now? That's it. You don't have to change what you eat. You don't have to judge the number. You just have to notice it. If you're about to open a bag of chips, just pause and ask, are you a 3, a 4? Or are you maybe a 5 or even a 6? Are you actually hungry? Or are you just bored? Are you stressed? Are you procrastinating? Are you just eating because the clock says it's lunchtime? The number holds the truth. This simple act of checking in is a circuit breaker. It interrupts the mindless autopilot program that has been running your life. It creates a tiny space between the impulse and the action. And in that space you find your power. In that space you have a choice. When you start doing this, you'll be amazed at what you discover. You'll realize how often you eat when you're not physically hungry at all. You're eating to cope with an emotion. You're eating out of habit. You're eating because you're in a social situation and everyone else is. This awareness is the first giant leap toward freedom. You can't change a pattern until you see the pattern. And what about the other end of the scale? Stopping at a 6 or a 7? This can feel even harder, especially in a culture that teaches us to clean our plates. The trick here is to slow down. Put your fork down between bites. Take a sip of water. Actually taste your food. Halfway through your meal, I want you to pause and check in again. Okay, where am I now? You might be surprised to find you're already at a 6. You're satisfied. The hunger is gone. This is the moment of truth. Can you stop? Can you honor that signal from your body? Can you save the rest for later? Doing this consistently recalibrates your entire system. Your body learns to trust you again. It understands that it will be fed when it's truly hungry, so it stops sending out those frantic, panicked hunger signals. The hormones that control hunger and fullness, ghrelin and leptin, start to work properly again. You become more sensitive to your body's subtle cues. You start to naturally desire the right amount of food. You're no longer fighting your body. You're working in partnership with it. This is the foundation. Without this, no diet in the world will ever work long-term. Because you're not just addressing the food, you're addressing the behavior. You're fixing the broken communication channel between your brain and your stomach. But there's a catch. This hunger scale works beautifully for one type of hunger: physical hunger, the kind that builds gradually, originates in the stomach, and is satisfied by any type of food. But what about that other kind of hunger? The one that hits you like a lightning bolt? The one that isn't in your stomach at all, but feels like it's screaming from your heart and your head? The one that doesn't want a chicken salad, it wants a pint of ice cream, and it wants it right now. That is emotional hunger. And it's a completely different beast, driven by a whole different set of rules and triggers. It is the silent saboteur of so many weight loss journeys. Trying to satisfy emotional hunger with physical food is like trying to fix a leaky pipe with a Band-Aid. It might feel like it's helping for a moment, but you're not addressing the real problem, and the flood is still coming. Recognizing the difference between these two types of hunger is the next critical skill you need to master. So let's defuse that ticking time bomb. Let's learn to tell the difference between the body's quiet request for fuel and the mind's desperate scream for comfort. This isn't just trivia. It's the master key that unlocks sustainable weight loss. Because once you can identify the signal, you can provide the right solution. First, let's talk about true physical hunger. Think of it like the tide slowly coming in. It doesn't crash upon you in a sudden violent wave. It builds gradually. You might notice a slight emptiness in your stomach, maybe a gurgle or a rumble. An hour later, that feeling is a little more pronounced. You start thinking, I could probably eat soon. Physical hunger is patient. It can wait a little while if you're busy. When you're physically hungry, a variety of foods sound appealing. A crisp apple, a grilled chicken salad, a bowl of soup. Your body is simply looking for energy, for nutrients, and it's not overly picky about the packaging. And most importantly, when you satisfy physical hunger by eating, the sensation goes away. You feel content, satisfied, and energized. There's no drama, no guilt, no shame. It's just a biological process as natural as breathing. Now let's contrast that with its imposter: emotional hunger. Emotional hunger is a flash flood. It hits you suddenly with an overwhelming sense of urgency. One minute you're fine, the next you have an intense, all-consuming craving for a specific food. It's almost never for broccoli or a baked potato. It's for ice cream, pizza, chips, chocolate, foods we associate with comfort, reward, or distraction. This hunger isn't located in your stomach. It's a craving you feel in your head, in your mouth. It's a thought that won't go away. When you give in to emotional hunger, the eating is often automatic, mindless. You might finish a whole bag of chips or a pint of ice cream without even really tasting it, as if you were on autopilot. And here's the biggest telltale sign. Emotional hunger doesn't stop when your stomach is full. You might eat until you're uncomfortably stuffed, chasing a feeling that food can never actually provide. And afterward, that's when the flood of negative emotions rushes in. Guilt, shame, regret, and a feeling of being completely out of control. Think about it. You have a brutal day at work. Your boss criticizes your project, you get stuck in traffic for an hour, and you walk in the door feeling drained, frustrated, and defeated. Suddenly, you're not just thinking about pizza, you need pizza. It feels like the only thing in the world that can make you feel better. That isn't your stomach talking. That is your exhausted, stressed out mind looking for the fastest, easiest source of dopamine it knows. You're not hungry for cheese and pepperoni. You're hungry for relief. You're hungry for a break from the stress. So how do you tell the difference in the heat of the moment? There's a brilliant, simple tool for this. It's an acronym. L is HALT. Before you reach for that snack you're not sure you really need, you stop and ask yourself 4 questions. First, H. Am I truly hungry? Check in with your body. Is your stomach rumbling? Do you feel that gradual growing emptiness we talked about? Or is the craving all in your head? Be honest with yourself. If the answer is yes, then by all means eat. But if it's no, you move to the next letter. Am I angry or anxious? Scan your emotional state. Did you just have a fight with your partner? Are you stewing over something a coworker said? Are you worried about upcoming bills? Anger, frustration, and anxiety are powerful emotions that create a profound sense of discomfort. And for many of us, our default programming is to numb that discomfort with food. Food becomes a distraction, a way to literally stuff down those feelings we don't want to deal with. If it's not anger, you move to L. Am I lonely? Humans are wired for connection. When we feel isolated, disconnected, or unseen, it creates a void inside us. And what's a common way to try and fill a void? With food. Eating can feel like a comforting activity, a friend that's always there for you. The pint of ice cream doesn't judge you or argue with you. It provides a temporary, but ultimately hollow sense of companionship. And finally, to am I tired? This is the big one. In our chronically sleep-deprived, overworked culture, exhaustion is the new normal. When you're physically or mentally exhausted, your body's survival instincts kick in. Your brain knows that the fastest possible source of energy is high-calorie, high-sugar food. Your willpower is at its lowest, and your decision-making abilities are shot. That craving for donuts at 3 p.m. isn't a sign of weakness. It's often a desperate signal from your body that it's running on empty and needs rest, not sugar. HALT. Hungry, angry, lonely, tired. This simple 4-question checklist transforms you from a passive victim of your cravings into an active detective of your own inner world. It forces you to pause, to take a breath between the impulse and the action. That pause is where your power lies. Let me tell you about a client of mine. Let's call her Jessica. For years, Jessica's downfall was late-night snacking. She'd eat a perfectly healthy dinner, feel satisfied, but like clockwork around 9 p.m., she'd find herself wandering into the kitchen, rummaging through the pantry for cookies or chips. She felt powerless to stop it. We introduced her to HALT. The first few nights, she'd ask the questions and the answer was always tired. She worked long hours in a demanding job, and by 9 p.m., she was completely spent. The cookies were her brain's misguided attempt to get a final burst of energy to push through the last couple of hours before bed. So we made a new rule. When the 9 p.m. craving hit, instead of going to the kitchen, she had to start her bedtime routine. Brush her teeth, wash her face, get into her pajamas. The simple act of brushing her teeth was a powerful pattern interrupt. It signaled to her brain that eating time was over. The first night was hard. She still wanted the cookies, but she went to bed instead. And she woke up the next morning feeling not only more rested, but incredibly proud. She had won. She had identified the real problem, exhaustion, and given her body what it actually needed, rest. Within 2 weeks, the 9 p.m. craving practically vanished. She had rewired the connection in her brain. She had learned to listen to the real message her body was sending. This is the first giant leap. It's about shifting from mindless reaction to mindful investigation. You stop judging yourself for having no willpower and start getting curious about what's really going on beneath the surface. You start treating your cravings not as enemies to be conquered, but as messengers to be understood. Each pang of emotional hunger is a clue, a piece of data that tells you something important about your unmet needs. Are you in need of a difficult conversation? A hug from a friend? Oh no. A walk in nature? Food can't fix these things, can only numb them for a little while, and it always leaves you with a bigger problem than you started with. Learning to decode these messages and respond appropriately is the fundamental difference between someone who is constantly at war with their body and someone who is working in harmony with it. You've now learned how to distinguish the real signal from the static. You have the HALT method, your personal diagnostic tool to figure out what you truly need in any given moment. This is the foundational knowledge. But knowing is only half the battle. Now we need to put it into practice. Now that you can identify when you are physically hungry, we need to explore the art of how to eat. We're going to dive into the practical, on-the-ground techniques that transform the act of eating from a mindless chore into a profound source of pleasure and satisfaction. We're going to talk about the 5 senses method, a technique so simple yet so powerful it will fundamentally change the way you interact with food forever. So let's start with a simple exercise, an experiment. I want you to grab a single piece of food. It could be a raisin, a nut, a grape, a small square of chocolate, anything. For our purposes, let's imagine a single perfect strawberry. Now, before you do what you've done a million times before, pop it in your mouth without a second thought. We're going to do something different. We're going to deploy the 5 senses method, and I want you to follow along with me. First sight. Don't just glance at the strawberry. Really look at it. Hold it in the palm of your hand or between your fingers. Notice the vibrant, almost impossible shade of red. See how it deepens to a rich crimson in some spots and stays a bright, cheerful red in others. Look at the tiny yellow seeds, the achenes, nestled in their little divots. Each one is a potential new plant. Notice the fresh green cap, the calyx, and how it contrasts with the red. Turn it over. Observe its unique shape. It's not a perfect cone. It has its own lumps and bumps, its own character. You've seen thousands of strawberries in your life, but have you ever truly seen this one? Second, touch. Roll the strawberry gently between your fingers. What does it feel like? Is it cool from the refrigerator? Is it firm or slightly soft? Feel the subtle texture of the skin, the slight roughness from the seeds. Feel the weight of it in your hand. It's light, but it's there. It's real. This is a physical object you are about to consume, not just an abstract concept called snack. Third smell. Bring the strawberry up to your nose and close your eyes. Inhale deeply. What do you smell? It's not just strawberry. It's the smell of summer, of sweetness, of freshness. It might be a little earthy, a little floral. Does that scent trigger any memories? A picnic in the park? Your grandmother's garden? Your sense of smell is directly linked to the memory and emotion centers in your brain. By engaging it, you're already beginning the process of satisfaction before the food even touches your tongue. You are priming your brain for pleasure. Fourth sound. This one might seem strange. A strawberry doesn't make much noise. But listen. As you bring it closer to your mouth, listen to your own breathing. Listen to the quiet sounds of the room around you. Now take a small bite. Not a big one. Just the tip. What did you hear? That tiny, crisp pop as your teeth broke the skin. The subtle, juicy squish. Most of our eating is accompanied by the noise of a TV, a podcast, or a conversation. By focusing on the quiet, intimate sounds of the food itself, you are anchoring yourself completely in the present moment. And finally, the fifth sense, taste. Place that first small bite on your tongue. But don't chew yet. Just let it rest there. What happens? Your mouth begins to water. Your taste buds start to send signals to your brain. Notice the initial burst of sweetness. Is there a little bit of tartness too? Now begin to chew, but do it slowly. Slower than you ever have before. Feel the texture of the flesh and the seeds against your tongue and teeth. Notice how the flavor profile changes and evolves as you chew. The sweetness might become more intense. The juice floods your mouth. Try to identify all the different notes, like you're a wine connoisseur tasting a vintage bottle. Swallow that first bite. Follow the sensation of it traveling down to your stomach. How does that feel? Now take another bite and repeat the process. What did we just do? We took what is normally a 5-second unconscious act and turned it into a 2-minute, deeply engaging sensory experience. The point isn't to eat every meal of your life this way. That's not realistic. The point is to prove a fundamental truth to yourself. One mindfully eaten strawberry can provide more genuine pleasure and satisfaction than an entire carton of them shoveled in while scrolling through your phone. This is the secret weapon against overeating. Your stomach doesn't have a volume meter that tells your brain, okay, we're full. The sensation of fullness is a complex hormonal conversation between your gut and your brain. A conversation that takes about 20 minutes to happen. When you eat mindlessly, you can consume an enormous amount of food before that "I'm full" signal ever has a chance to arrive. You've finished a whole bag of chips or a giant bowl of pasta before your brain even gets the memo that you've had enough. You're physically stuffed, but you don't feel satisfied. Mindful eating, using this 5 senses method, is the ultimate pattern interrupt. It forces you to slow down. It gives your brain the time it needs to catch up with your stomach. By slowing down, you give that hormonal signal a fighting chance. You start to notice the subtle, early signs of fullness, not the "I'm about to burst" feeling, but the gentle, comfortable sensation of being satisfied. This is the point where you can comfortably and easily decide to stop eating. And think about the pleasure component. So much of our overeating comes from a place of chasing satisfaction. We eat a cookie and it tastes good, but we were distracted, so we barely registered the experience. Our brain says, hey, that was supposed to be a treat, but I kind of missed it. Let's have another one to really enjoy it. And so on and so on. When you eat mindfully, you extract the maximum amount of pleasure from every single bite. The flavor is more intense, the experience more memorable. Your brain gets the satisfaction it was looking for from a much smaller amount of food. That one perfectly savored piece of dark chocolate is infinitely more satisfying than a king-size candy bar devoured in 30 seconds. This isn't about restriction. It's about enrichment. It's not about what you can't have. It's about fully experiencing what you do have. I challenge you to try this. You don't have to do it for a whole meal at first. Just commit to eating the first 3 bites of your next meal, using the 5 senses method. The first bite of your sandwich. The first forkful of your salad. The first spoonful of your soup. Use those first 3 bites to check in with your body, to slow down, and to set the tone for the rest of an intentional, mindful meal. You will be absolutely astonished at the difference it makes. You'll start tasting your food again, maybe for the first time in years. You'll start recognizing your body's true hunger and fullness signals, separating them from emotional cravings or simple boredom. You are taking back the controls from the autopilot that has been running your eating habits for far too long. This simple, profound shift is the foundation upon which lasting, sustainable weight loss is built. It's not a diet, it's a discovery. Now that you have this powerful tool, you're probably thinking, this sounds great in a quiet room with a strawberry, but what about when I'm stressed out after a long day at work? Or when I'm at a party surrounded by junk food? Or when my cravings are literally screaming at me? Those are the real-world battles. Those are the moments when our best intentions get hijacked by powerful psychological triggers. And that's exactly where we're going next. We're going to pull back the curtain on the emotional and environmental forces that drive mindless eating, and I'm going to give you a concrete battle plan to conquer them. Let's start with a scene. It's 6:30 p.m. You've just walked in the door after a long, draining day. Your boss was demanding, the traffic was brutal, and you feel that familiar knot of stress tightening in your shoulders. Your brain is screaming for a reward, for a release. You drop your keys on the counter, kick off your shoes, and your eyes land on it. The pantry. Without a single conscious thought, your hand is on the handle. The crinkle of the potato chip bag is like a siren's call. You grab the whole bag, collapse onto the couch, and turn on the TV. An hour later, you look down and the bag is empty. You don't even remember eating most of them. You just feel a vague sense of fullness, mixed with a heavy dose of guilt. Does any part of that sound familiar? This isn't a failure of willpower. This is a textbook case of being ambushed by your triggers. You see, mindless eating is rarely a random act. It's a pre-programmed response to specific cues in our lives. These triggers fall into two main categories: emotional and environmental. And to win this fight, you have to become a detective in your own life, identifying these triggers and then systematically disarming them. Let's tackle the big one first. Emotional triggers. Stress, boredom, loneliness, sadness, even happiness and celebration. These powerful feelings can send us straight to the kitchen on autopilot. For decades, we've been conditioned to soothe ourselves with food. Had a bad day? Have some ice cream. Feeling bored? A snack will pass the time. It's a deeply ingrained loop. Feel a negative emotion, seek a quick dopamine hit from high-fat, high-sugar food, feel a momentary relief, and then often feel guilt, which perpetuates the cycle. The mindful approach isn't to pretend these emotions don't exist. You can't just will yourself not to feel stressed. The first, most crucial step is to simply pause and identify the feeling. When you feel that magnetic pull toward the refrigerator, stop for just 3 seconds. Take one deep breath and ask yourself, what am I really feeling right now? Give the feeling a name. I am feeling overwhelmed. I am feeling lonely. I am anxious about tomorrow's presentation. The simple act of naming the emotion separates you from it. It takes you out of the reactive, autopilot brain and into the conscious thinking brain. You're no longer a victim of the feeling. You're an observer of it. Once you've named the emotion, you need to disrupt the pattern. Your brain has a well-worn neural highway that goes from stress directly to snack. We need to build a new road. This is where you create what I call a comfort menu. A list of non-food activities that genuinely soothe or distract you. This needs to be pre-planned because in the heat of the moment, you won't have the mental energy to come up with something new. Your comfort menu could include things like putting on a specific high-energy song and dancing for 3 minutes, stepping outside and taking 10 deep breaths of fresh air, calling a friend or family member you love talking to, doing a 5-minute guided meditation on an app, taking a hot shower or bath, writing down everything that's bothering you in a journal. The key is that these activities must be just as easy and accessible as grabbing a snack. If your go-to stress reliever is a 45-minute yoga class, you're not going to do it when you're feeling exhausted after work. But you will listen to one song. You will step outside for 60 seconds. Now let's make this even more powerful using a proven psychological technique called an implementation intention, or an if-then plan. You write it down. If I feel stressed after my workday, then I will immediately change into my workout clothes. If I feel bored while watching TV, then I will get up and do 5 minutes of stretching. If I feel lonely in the evening, then I will text my best friend and ask about their day. By creating these simple rules, you're making the decision in advance. You're taking the guesswork and the willpower out of the equation. When the trigger hits, your brain already knows the new, constructive path to follow. This is your battle plan for emotional triggers. Acknowledge, name, and redirect. It's not about suppressing your feelings. It's about learning to process them without using food as a crutch. Now let's talk about the second type of ambush, environmental triggers. Dr. Brian Wansink, a leading researcher in this field, famously said, "You are more influenced by your environment than you think." We believe we make conscious choices about what we eat, but often our surroundings are making those choices for us. Your home, your office, your car. They are all littered with invisible cues that dictate your eating behavior. It's time to re-engineer your environment to make your goals easier, not harder. Let's start with the most obvious culprit: visibility and convenience. The simple truth is we eat what we see. If there's a candy dish on your desk, you will eat the candy. If there's a bag of chips on your counter, you will grab a handful every time you walk by. The solution is beautifully simple. Make the healthy choice the easy choice, and the unhealthy choice the difficult one. I want you to conduct a kitchen audit. Go through your pantry, your fridge, and your countertops. Any high-calorie, low-nutrition snack foods, cookies, chips, crackers, candy need to be moved. I don't necessarily mean you have to throw them all out, though for some, that's the best strategy. But at a minimum, they need to be moved out of sight. Put them on a high shelf in the back of the pantry in an opaque container. Create friction. If you have to get a step stool and move 3 other things to get to the cookies, you're far less likely to eat them on a whim. Conversely, take all the healthy stuff and put it front and center. Have a beautiful bowl of fresh fruit, apples, bananas, oranges, right on your kitchen counter. When you open the fridge, the first things you should see are pre-cut vegetables in clear containers, yogurt, and bottles of water. Make health impossible to ignore. Prep your snacks in advance. Instead of a giant bag of almonds, have 10 small baggies with a single pre-portioned serving in each. You've just made grabbing a healthy portion just as easy as grabbing a candy bar. Next, we need to dismantle what I call eating stations. Is your couch an eating station? Is your desk? Your bed? When you consistently eat in these places, your brain forges a powerful association. Couch equals TV equals snacking. It becomes an automatic habit loop. The solution is to create a designated eating zone. This could be your kitchen table or a specific chair in your dining area. Make a rule. All food, every meal, every snack is consumed only in this zone. No exceptions. This does 2 incredible things. First, it shatters those environmental associations. Your brain will no longer automatically scream for popcorn the second you sit on the couch. Second, it forces you to be more intentional. You can't mindlessly graze if you have to physically get up and go sit at the table for every single bite. This simple rule alone can eliminate hundreds of mindless calories from your day. Finally, let's talk about your dinnerware. Studies have shown unequivocally that the size of your plates, bowls, and even your spoons influences how much you eat. It's called the Delboeuf illusion. The same amount of food looks tiny on a huge dinner plate, but looks abundant and satisfying on a smaller salad plate. So do a simple swap. Use your large plates for salads and vegetables, and use smaller, 9-inch plates for your main meals. Use smaller bowls for cereal or ice cream. Use taller, thinner glasses for sugary drinks and wider, shorter glasses for water, which encourages you to drink more of it. These aren't tricks, this is using psychology in your favor. It's about designing your environment to guide you toward your goals, rather than constantly fighting against it. By tackling these triggers head-on, you're doing something profound. You're taking back control. You're no longer a pinball, bouncing from one emotional craving to the next environmental cue. You are the architect of your own choices. You've redesigned your kitchen. You've created a battle plan for your emotions. You are setting the stage for success before you even think about the food itself. But now the stage is set. We've re-engineered your environment and armed you against emotional triggers. But what about when the food is actually on your plate, in your designated eating zone? The battle isn't over. In fact, the most critical phase is just beginning. Next, we're going to transform the way you physically eat, bite by bite, and unlock a level of satiety and satisfaction from your food that you never thought possible. We're going to learn the forgotten art of tasting. We're going to learn the forgotten art of tasting. Now that might sound strange. You're probably thinking, I taste my food every day. I know what a cheeseburger tastes like. I know what chocolate tastes like. But do you really? Or do you just recognize it? There's a grand canyon of difference between recognizing a flavor and truly experiencing it. This is the single biggest mechanical change you can make, and it will revolutionize your relationship with food and your body's response to it. Most of us don't taste. We consume. We inhale. Food is fuel, a task to be completed, a box to be checked on our daily to-do list. We eat while driving, while scrolling through our phones, while watching TV, while standing at the kitchen counter. Our mouths are doing the work, but our minds are a million miles away. And this is where the entire system breaks down. Your brain is the command center for satiety, that feeling of fullness and satisfaction. but it needs data to make an informed decision. The primary data it receives comes from the sensory experience of eating. It's not just the stomach stretching that tells your brain you're full. It's the aroma, the complex dance of flavors on your tongue, the texture against your teeth, the very sound of a crunch. When you eat at lightning speed, you are starving your brain of this critical data. It's like trying to watch a 2-hour movie in 3 minutes. You might see the beginning and the end, but you miss the entire story. Your brain gets the food is coming in signal and the stomach is physically full signal, but it completely misses the satisfaction signal. This is the phantom hunger we talked about. It's that feeling of, I just ate a huge meal but I still want something else. Your stomach is full but your brain is not satisfied. It missed the experience. It didn't get the data it needed to feel content. So it keeps sending out more signals, looking for that missing piece of the puzzle. It's not looking for more volume. It's looking for more experience. So how do we fix this? We start with a simple, incredibly powerful technique I call the first 3 bites rule. For the rest of your life, I want you to treat the first 3 bites of every single meal as if you were a world-renowned food critic judging a Michelin star dish. It doesn't matter if it's a salad, a slice of pizza, or a bowl of oatmeal. The first 3 bites are sacred. With your very first bite, before you even start chewing, I want you to focus on just one thing: the initial flavor. As it hits your tongue, what is the first note you detect? Is it the saltiness of a potato chip? The sweetness of a piece of fruit? The savory umami flavor of grilled meat? Just isolate that one sensation. Put all of your attention there. Now for your second bite. This time your focus is entirely on texture. As you chew, ignore the taste for a moment and just feel. Is it creamy? Crunchy? Chewy? Smooth? Is there a combination of textures? The crispness of lettuce against the softness of an avocado. The firmness of a nut. Pay attention to the sound it makes inside your head. This is a huge part of the sensory data your brain is craving. And now your third bite. With this bite, you're going to focus on the complexity and the aftertaste. After you chew and swallow, what lingers? Does the flavor evolve? Does a spice reveal itself a few seconds later? Does the sweetness fade into something else? This is where the true character of the food lives. By practicing this with just the first 3 bites, you accomplish 3 incredible things. First, you anchor yourself in the present moment. You've broken the pattern of mindless eating from the very start. Second, you force yourself to slow down, which is the cornerstone of allowing your body's natural satiety signals to catch up. And third, you flood your brain with so much rich sensory data right at the beginning of the meal that it becomes exponentially more satisfied with the entire experience. You'll be amazed at how this simple practice can make the rest of the meal feel more fulfilling, even if you eat it at a more normal pace. To really understand the power of this, we're going to do a little exercise together. It's a classic mindfulness practice, and it will change the way you see food forever. I want you to go get one single thing. It could be 1 raisin, 1 chocolate chip, 1 almond, 1 blueberry, or even 1 pretzel. Just one. Pause this video if you need to and come right back. Got it? Good. Now, for the next 2 minutes, this single object is going to be the center of your universe. First, just look at it. Place it in the palm of your hand. Don't just glance at it. Really see it. If it's a raisin, notice the wrinkles and folds. Notice how the light catches its surface. See the different shades of color. You've seen 1,000 raisins, but you've never really looked at one like this. Next, I want you to touch it. Roll it between your thumb and forefinger. What does it feel like? Is it smooth, rough, waxy, soft? Feel its weight. It's so light, yet it's there. Engage your sense of touch. Now bring it up to your ear. Squeeze it a little. Does it make a sound? Probably not, but the act of listening brings another level of focus. Okay, let's engage the most powerful sense tied to flavor. Smell. Bring it to your nose and close your eyes. Inhale deeply. What do you smell? Sweetness? Earthiness? Does it trigger a memory? Our olfactory sense is a direct line to the memory centers of our brain. Let the aroma fill your head. Now slowly bring it to your lips. Don't put it in your mouth yet. Just notice how it feels against your lips. Notice the anticipation. Your mouth may have already started to water. That's your body fully present, preparing for what's to come. Now gently place it on your tongue. Don't chew. Just let it rest there. What do you notice? Explore it with your tongue. The texture, the shape. The flavors might start to release just from the warmth of your mouth. When you're ready, take one single conscious bite. And as you do, notice the explosion of flavor. It's a universe of taste you were about to swallow without a second thought. Chew slowly 3 or 5 times. Notice how the texture changes. Notice how the flavor evolves from that initial burst to something deeper, more complex. Finally, when you're ready, swallow it. And don't just move on. Follow the sensation of it traveling down your throat all the way down. Then sit for a moment. What's left? The aftertaste? A feeling of satisfaction? You just spent 2 or 3 minutes with one single raisin, one single chocolate chip. And I will bet you got more genuine pleasure and satisfaction from that one tiny bite than you get from an entire bag of chips you eat on autopilot. You experienced it fully. Your brain got all the data. It is completely satisfied. That is the forgotten art of tasting. This isn't about doing that exercise with every bite of every meal. That's not realistic. This is about retraining your brain. It's about building the muscle of attention. You use the first 3 bites rule to start the process, and then you try to check in for 1 or 2 mindful bites in the middle of the meal, and 1 at the end. You are resensitizing your palate and your brain to the joy and satisfaction that is already present in your food. You just weren't paying attention. When you do this, something magical happens. The satiety cascade begins. By slowing down and tasting, you give the hormones in your gut like ghrelin and leptin time to work. They have a 20-minute commute to get from your stomach to your brain. When you eat in 5 minutes, the message arrives long after the meal is over, forcing you to overeat to feel full. But when you slow down, the message arrives right on time. Your brain, which is already feeling satisfied from the rich sensory experience, receives the stomach is reaching capacity signal and says, "Roger that. We are good here. We can stop now." You start to find that smaller portions are intensely satisfying. You get more satisfaction per calorie. You no longer need a massive volume of food to feel content because you're feeding your brain, not just your stomach. You're trading mindless volume for mindful value. You've now learned to listen to your body's true hunger signals, and you've learned how to truly taste your food to maximize satisfaction. These are the 2 foundational pillars. But there's a third, equally powerful force at play: your environment. The battlefield where all this takes place. Because even if you know what to do, your surroundings can be designed to make you fail. So now we need to architect your environment for automatic success, turning your kitchen from a place of temptation and conflict into a sanctuary of nourishment. And this transformation begins with a simple, almost ruthless act of curation. Think of yourself as the head curator of the most important museum in the world, your home. And the most sacred exhibit is your body. Right now, we're going to walk through that museum and decide which pieces belong, and which are just cluttering up the gallery. This isn't about deprivation. It's about elevation. It's about honoring your goals by creating an environment where they can't help but flourish. We start with what I call the pantry purge. This is a one-time deep dive mission. I want you to open your pantry, your fridge, your freezer, and even that secret drawer where you hide the emergency chocolate. We're going to be honest and we're going to be decisive. Pick up every single item. Look at the label. If the ingredient list reads like a chemistry textbook, it's a candidate for removal. If sugar is one of the first 3 ingredients, and it's not a jar of jam for a special occasion, it's a candidate. Those neon-colored snack cakes, the dusty bags of potato chips, the sugary cereals that promise cartoon-fueled happiness but deliver a blood sugar crash. We're thanking them for their service and letting them go. Now I can hear the objections. But I spent money on that. Or what about waste? I understand. But let's reframe this. Is it more wasteful to throw out a $2 bag of cookies? Or is it more wasteful to let that bag of cookies derail your health, sap your energy, and undermine the very goals you're working so hard to achieve? The cost of keeping those items in your house is far greater than the price you paid at the store. You are paying with your willpower, your energy, and your progress every single time you see them. So donate what you can to a food bank. Unopened, non-perishable items. And the rest? Let it go. This act is a powerful declaration. It's you telling yourself, my health is more important than this box of processed crackers. My future is more valuable than this temporary temptation. Once the purge is complete, your kitchen can breathe. Now we rebuild it as a fortress of support. The number 1 rule of this fortress is this: make the healthy choice the easy choice, and make the unhealthy choice a difficult one. Human beings are fundamentally lazy. We follow the path of least resistance. For years, the path of least resistance has probably led to a bag of chips. We're going to reroute that path. Let's start with visibility. What you see, you eat. It's that simple. So, we're going to use a strategy called choice architecture. Get some clear, beautiful glass containers and a few opaque, hard-to-reach ones. In the glass containers, which you will place at eye level in your fridge and pantry, you put the good stuff. Washed and cut celery and carrots. Hard-boiled eggs. Portioned out bags of almonds. Cooked quinoa. In the opaque containers on the highest shelf, or tucked away in the back of the pantry, you can put the things that are treats, the dark chocolate, the whole grain crackers for a cheese plate. The principle is out of sight, out of mind. If you have to get a step stool, move 3 other things, and open a specific container to get to a cookie, are you really going to do it on a whim? Probably not. The effort required forces a pause. And in that pause, you have a chance to ask, am I really hungry, or am I just bored? But if a bowl of crisp, washed apples is sitting on the counter, and you're feeling a little peckish, the path of least resistance now leads directly to a healthy, fiber-rich snack. You've made it easier to succeed than to fail. This applies to your countertops too. Your kitchen counter should not be a storage facility for processed foods. I want you to implement the fruit bowl rule. The only food that gets to live on your counter is food that grew on a plant and is in its whole unprocessed form. A beautiful bowl of fruit. Apples, bananas, oranges, avocados. This does 2 things. First, it provides a constant, beautiful visual cue for healthy eating. It says, this is a place where we eat fresh, vibrant food. Second, it makes grabbing a piece of fruit the most convenient option in the entire kitchen. Now let's talk about your equipment. Bring your best tools to the forefront. Is your blender for morning smoothies buried behind an old bread maker you never use? Swap them. Is your water filter pitcher hidden in the back of the fridge? Give it a prime spot on the top shelf, front and center. Maybe even get a beautiful water bottle and keep it on the counter as a constant reminder to hydrate. You're setting up visual and physical cues that nudge you toward your goals all day long, without you even having to think about it. This environmental design extends to the very act of eating. Where do you eat your meals? On the couch watching TV? In front of your computer scrolling through emails? Standing over the sink? This is a form of mindless eating, and it's a major saboteur of weight loss. When your brain is distracted, it doesn't properly register satiety signals. You can eat an entire meal and still feel unsatisfied because you weren't mentally present for it. So we're going to create a designated eating zone. For most people, this is the dining table. From now on, the dining table is for eating only. It is not a desk. It is not a place to dump mail. It's a sanctuary for nourishment. When it's time to eat, you set a place. Even if you're eating alone, use a real plate, not a paper one. Use real silverware, not plastic. Put a napkin next to your plate. Pour un glace of water. This little ritual, which takes all of 30 seconds, sends a powerful signal to your brain. Pay attention. We are about to eat. This is an important event. By creating this ritual, you automatically slow down. You separate the act of eating from all other distractions. This allows you to actually taste your food, to notice the textures, the flavors, the aromas. It gives your body's hormonal feedback loop, the one that tells you when you're full, time to catch up with your stomach. You might be shocked to find that you feel full and satisfied with much less food than you used to when you were eating on autopilot in front of a screen. I had a client once who swore she had no willpower in the evenings. Every night around 8 p.m. she'd find herself in the pantry, finishing off a bag of pretzels or a sleeve of cookies. We worked on her environment. She moved all the snack foods to an opaque bin on a high shelf in her laundry room. Then she bought a beautiful glass pitcher, and every evening after dinner, she'd fill it with water and slices of lemon and mint, and place it on the coffee table where she watched TV. The first few nights were hard. She'd get the urge, stand up and start walking to the kitchen. But then she'd have to consciously decide to go all the way to the laundry room, get the bin and eat her snack. The extra steps created just enough friction. Instead, she'd see the beautiful pitcher of water. It was right there. It was easy. So she'd pour herself a glass. After a week, the intense craving started to fade. She hadn't grown more willpower overnight. She had simply redesigned her environment so that willpower was barely needed. She made the healthy choice the path of least resistance. This is the secret. It's not about being stronger than your cravings. It's about being smarter than them. It's about designing a world around you that supports the person you want to become. A world where your kitchen isn't a minefield of temptation, but a calm, organized, beautiful space that makes you feel good and makes healthy choices feel effortless. You are the architect of your life. Start with the blueprints of your own kitchen. Now that your physical environment is becoming a fortress of support, we need to address the other battlefield, the one that's even more complex, the battlefield of the mind. Because you can have the most perfect, healthy kitchen in the world, But it won't matter if emotional triggers and deep-seated cravings are still pulling the strings. So next, we need to confront the invisible forces, the stress, the boredom, the sadness, that send us reaching for food when our bodies aren't even hungry. And these invisible forces have a name: emotional hunger. It's the ghost in the machine of every failed diet. It's the late-night raid on the pantry after a brutal day at work. It's the entire pint of ice cream that vanishes during a sad movie. This isn't about a lack of willpower. Let's get that straight right now. Telling someone to just use more willpower against emotional eating is like telling someone to just be happier when they're depressed. It's unhelpful, and it completely misses the point. Emotional eating is a coping mechanism. It's a deeply ingrained neurochemical response to discomfort. Your brain, in its infinite and sometimes misguided wisdom, has learned a simple equation. Feeling bad plus high-calorie food equals feeling a little bit better for a minute. And for a brain desperate for relief, that minute can feel like an eternity of peace. To break this cycle, we first have to learn the difference between the two types of hunger that live inside us. Think of it like this: physical hunger is a polite knock on the door. Emotional hunger is a home invasion. Physical hunger builds gradually. It starts as a little rumble, a thought of, "I could probably eat soon." It's patient. It's open to suggestions: a salad, a chicken breast, an apple, they all sound pretty good. When you satisfy physical hunger, you feel content, energized. It's a biological need being met. Emotional hunger, on the other hand, is a sudden, overwhelming tidal wave. It's not a rumble, it's a roar. It demands a specific food, usually something high in fat, sugar, or salt. It's not interested in an apple. It wants the triple chocolate fudge cake, the extra-large fries, the family-size bag of chips, and it wants it now. And the feeling after you indulge? It's not contentment. It's often a cocktail of guilt, shame, and regret, which ironically can trigger the next round of emotional eating. It's a vicious, self-perpetuating loop. The key difference is location. Physical hunger is felt in the stomach. Emotional hunger is felt above the neck. It's a craving that lives in your head, a frantic desire born from your feelings. So why does our brain do this to us? It all comes down to chemistry. When you're stressed, your body floods with a hormone called cortisol. Cortisol is part of your fight or flight response, and it screams at your body to find high-energy fuel to fight the perceived threat. Whether that threat is a saber-toothed tiger or an angry email from your boss. Your brain doesn't really know the difference. It just knows cortisol is high, and it craves the fastest, most potent energy source it can get: sugar and fat. Then comes dopamine, the pleasure and reward neurotransmitter. When you eat that cookie or those chips, your brain releases a hit of dopamine. Feels good. It's a moment of relief, a temporary anesthetic for your emotional pain. Your brain logs this experience. Stress was high. We ate the thing. Dopamine was released. Feeling of relief achieved. We should do that again. Every time you repeat this pattern, you strengthen that neural pathway. The path from stress to cookie becomes a well-worn 6-lane superhighway in your brain, while the path to healthier coping mechanisms remains a barely visible trail in the woods. You're not weak. You're just incredibly well practiced at this specific coping strategy. The good news is we can change the wiring. This is where mindfulness becomes your superpower. The first and most critical step is to create a space between the trigger and the action. We need to install a pause button. I want you to learn a simple but life-changing acronym: HALT. Before you reach for that snack you know you don't physically need, you're going to halt and ask yourself 4 questions. Am I truly hungry? Am I angry? Am I lonely? Am I tired? Let's break it down. First, hungry. Do a quick body scan. Is your stomach growling? Do you feel lightheaded? When was your last meal? If you just ate an hour ago, it's probably not physical hunger. Be honest with yourself. Next, angry. Are you frustrated with your spouse? Are you stewing over a comment a coworker made? Is there a simmering resentment that you're trying to literally swallow down with food? Acknowledging the anger is the first step. Naming it takes away some of its power. Instead of saying, "I need a brownie," you can say, "I am angry, and my brain thinks a brownie will fix it." That tiny shift in language is monumental. Then lonely. Loneliness is a profound, primal ache. We are social creatures. Sometimes we use food to fill a void that was meant to be filled with connection. The food provides a temporary sense of fullness, a comfort, a friend that's always there in the pantry. Are you feeling isolated? Are you craving connection, not calories? Finally, tired. This is a huge one. When we're exhausted, our decision-making ability plummets. Our cortisol levels rise and our cravings for quick energy spike. Your body isn't asking for a snack, it's begging for rest. Are you physically or mentally drained? Could what you're interpreting as a hunger pang actually be a signal that you need a 15-minute nap? Or just to go to bed an hour earlier? Practicing HALT is like turning on a light in a dark room. For the first time, you're not just a passenger on the runaway train of your cravings. You're in the conductor's seat, able to see what's really driving you. The craving doesn't magically disappear, but it's no longer an irresistible command. It's just information. Once you've identified the true feeling behind the craving, you need a new plan. If you take away your old coping mechanism, food, you have to replace it with something else. This is where you create what I call a nourishment menu that has nothing to do with food. This is your personalized toolkit for self-soothing. I want you to physically write this down. Get a piece of paper, open a note on your phone, and create a list of activities that genuinely comfort and relax you. If you're angry, what's on your menu? Maybe it's 5 minutes of intense exercise like jumping jacks or shadowboxing. Maybe it's screaming into a pillow. Maybe it's journaling furiously, getting all that toxic energy out of your body and onto the page. Maybe it's listening to loud, aggressive music. If you're lonely, what's on your menu? Call a friend, text your sibling, go to a coffee shop just to be around the buzz of other people, cuddle with your pet. Studies show this releases oxytocin, the love hormone, which is a powerful antidote to loneliness. Look at old photos of happy memories with loved ones. If you're tired, the answer is simple: rest. Don't eat, rest. Take a 10-minute power nap. Do a guided meditation or a non-sleep deep rest protocol. Make a cup of calming herbal tea and just sit in silence. Put your legs up the wall. Give your body the one thing it's actually asking for. What about the most common trigger for many of us? Boredom. Boredom eating is so common because it gives us a little hit of stimulation and something to do. Your menu for boredom needs to be filled with engaging, 5-minute distractions. Organize one drawer. Do a crossword puzzle. Learn 3 words in a new language on an app. Watch a funny YouTube video. Step outside and take 10 deep breaths of fresh air. The goal here is to have a list of pre-approved go-to strategies. In the heat of a craving, your rational brain is offline. You won't be able to think of these alternatives on the spot. You need to have the list ready so you can just look at it and pick one. You are, quite literally, rewriting your brain's script. Each time you feel a trigger and choose an action from your nourishment menu instead of food, you are weakening the old stress-eat-cookie highway and starting to pave a new, healthier neural pathway. At first, this new path will feel difficult, like hacking through a dense jungle with a machete. But the more you use it, the easier it becomes. The path gets wider, smoother, and eventually, it becomes your brain's new automatic default. This isn't about perfection. It's about practice. There will be times you use the HALT method and still eat the cookie. That's okay. The victory wasn't in avoiding the cookie. The victory was in the pause. It was in the moment of awareness where you chose to check in with yourself. That moment of mindfulness is the seed of change. And it's a seed we need to protect, not just in the privacy of our own homes, but when we step out into the world. Because our internal emotional triggers are only half the battle. The other half is navigating a world that is practically designed to make us eat mindlessly. A world of social pressure, food-centric celebrations, and endless temptation. And mastering that external landscape is where our journey must take us next. Let's call this mindful eating in the wild. Because that's what it feels like, right? You can be a Zen master in your own kitchen, perfectly in tune with your body. But the moment you step out the door, you're in the jungle. A jungle of all-you-can-eat buffets, supersized restaurant portions, and well-meaning family members who believe the purest expression of love is a second helping of pie. This isn't about willpower. Willpower is a muscle that gets tired. This is about strategy. It's about having a game plan before you even walk into the arena. So let's break down the 3 most common battlegrounds. First, the restaurant. Restaurants are not designed for mindful eating. They are designed for an experience. That experience often translates to giant plates of food, rich sauces, and an atmosphere that encourages you to eat more, drink more, and stay longer. So how do you take back control? It starts before you even leave the house. Your first move is to scout the terrain. Look up the menu online. Don't do this when you're starving. Do it after a meal when you're calm and rational. Decide what you're going to order right then and there. Make a conscious, mindful choice based on what will nourish you and what you'll genuinely enjoy, not what your ravenous future self will panic order. When you get to the restaurant, you've already won half the battle. You know your order. You're not swayed by the sizzling fajitas walking past your table or what your friend is having. Now for the second move, the breadbasket ambush. You know what I'm talking about. You sit down, you're hungry, and before you can even order a water, a basket of warm, tempting carbs appears. If you truly want a piece of bread, have one. Savor it. Enjoy the butter melting into it. But more often than not, we eat it just because it's there. The pro move? Politely ask the server to take it away. Or if you're with others, move it to the far end of the table. Create a little distance. Then comes the main event. The food arrives, and it's almost always way more than you need. Here is the single most powerful strategy you can use. Ask for a to-go box with your meal, not after. The moment your plate hits the table, you perform a little triage. You look at the portion and you immediately section off half of it or a third, whatever feels right, and put it directly into the box. Close the lid. Now it's gone. It's tomorrow's lunch. It's no longer a challenge on your plate. You've just given yourself permission to eat until you are satisfied, not until your plate is clean. The visual cue of an empty plate is one of the most powerful drivers of overeating. By changing what the plate looks like from the very beginning, you change the entire experience. You can now focus on savoring what's in front of you without that subconscious pressure to finish it all. Next battleground, the social gathering. The office party, the holiday get-together, the backyard barbecue. These are minefields of mindless grazing. The key here is to shift from being a passive participant to an active strategist. Your first strategy, the reconnaissance mission. I repeat, do not just grab a plate and start at one end of the buffet line. Leave the plate behind and do a full walkthrough. Be a food critic. Scan everything. What looks just okay? What looks mass-produced? And what looks absolutely mouth-wateringly incredible? Maybe it's the homemade guacamole, or your friend's famous brownies. Mentally, you select your top 2 or 3 items. These are the things worth eating. Then you go back, get your plate, and you take only those things. You're choosing quality over quantity. You're curating your experience instead of just consuming what's offered. Strategy number 2 is about location. Find out where the food is. Now go stand somewhere else. It's that simple. We eat what we see. If you're parked next to the chip bowl, you're going to eat the chips. It's almost an involuntary reflex. By putting physical distance between you and the food, you create mental distance. You have to make a conscious choice to walk over and get something, which gives your mindful brain a chance to ask, am I actually hungry? Most of the time the answer is no. You're just bored or nervous or following the social script. So grab a seltzer with lime, find the most interesting person in the room, and focus on the conversation, not the consumption. And finally, the boss level of mindful eating in the wild, the family dinner. This is the hardest one because it's not just about food. It's about love, tradition, and guilt. You have the food pusher, the loving grandmother or aunt who insists, you're all skin and bones. Have some more. Rejecting the food feels like rejecting their love. This requires a different kind of strategy, one built on verbal self-defense. You need to prepare and practice a few key phrases. When someone offers you a second helping you don't want, your first line of defense is the compliment and deflect. It sounds like this, oh my gosh, Aunt Susan, this is absolutely delicious. You have to give me the recipe. I'm so perfectly full right now, I'm just going to sit here and savor this. Notice what you did there. You didn't say no. You didn't say, I'm on a diet. You praised their cooking, which is what they're really looking for. You affirmed them. Then you stated your own physical reality. I'm perfectly full. Which is a boundary that is hard to argue with. If they persist, you can use the delay tactic. Everything looks so good. I just need to let my food settle for a little while before I can even think about another bite. 9 times out of 10, by the time a little while passes, the dessert is out, the conversation has moved on, and the moment is gone. The most important thing to remember in these situations is that your body is your own. You are the only one who knows if you are hungry or full. You have the right to honor those signals, regardless of the social situation. It's not rude to say no thank you. It's a form of self-respect. And over time, your friends and family will learn. They'll adjust to the new you, the you who eats with intention and joy, who savors every bite, and who knows exactly when they've had enough. Mastering these external situations isn't about deprivation. It's the exact opposite. It's about enhancing your enjoyment by being fully present. It's about choosing the foods that you will love the most, instead of mindlessly eating the things you don't even care about. It's about walking away from a meal feeling energized and satisfied, not stuffed and regretful. It's a skill, and like any skill, it takes practice. Every restaurant visit, every party is a chance to train. But let's be real. There will be times you forget your strategy, times the bread basket wins, times you eat the second piece of pie just to make your grandma happy. And in that moment, a voice in your head might say, "See? You failed. You blew it. Might as well eat the rest of the pie." This all-or-nothing thinking is the single greatest enemy of long-term success. So how do we deal with it? How do we turn a slip-up from a catastrophe into a simple data point? How do we build the resilience to not just get back on track but to stay on track for life? That is the final and most critical piece of this entire puzzle. The answer isn't another diet plan, a stricter rule, or a more punishing workout. The answer is a revolution in how you view the journey itself. It's about building a system so robust, so compassionate, that a slip-up is no more dangerous than a single wave hitting the side of a battleship. It might rock you for a second, but it has zero chance of sinking you. The first step is to completely dismantle the idea of the wagon. You know the one. "I fell off the wagon." This phrase is one of the most destructive concepts in weight loss. It implies there are only two states of being. You are either perfectly on the wagon or you are off it, tumbling in the mud, a complete failure. This is a lie. This is the all-or-nothing thinking that keeps people trapped in a cycle of shame and self-sabotage for decades. There is no wagon. There is only a path. Your path. And on any path, sometimes you stumble. Sometimes you trip over a root or step in a puddle. Do you, in that moment, declare the entire journey a failure, turn around, and sprint back to the beginning? Of course not. You'd feel a little annoyed, brush yourself off, and keep walking. This is the new mindset. A slip-up is not a failure. It's a stumble. A moment. It does not define the journey. So, how do we operationalize this? We adopt a simple, powerful mantra. Data, not drama. Let's say you had a stressful day at work, came home, and ate half a pizza you didn't plan on eating. The old script, the one fueled by the diet industry, immediately kicks in with the drama. You've ruined everything. You have no self-control. You're a failure. What's the point of even trying? You might as well eat the other half and start again on Monday. This internal monologue is a self-fulfilling prophecy of failure. It turns a 600-calorie stumble into a 6,000-calorie catastrophe. The new script is data, not drama. You pause. You breathe. And you become a scientist in the laboratory of your own life. You ask questions without judgment. Okay, that happened. What's the data here? Fact 1. I was feeling incredibly stressed and depleted from work. Fact 2. I didn't have a healthy meal planned or prepped. Fact 3. The pizza provided a moment of comfort and distraction. Fact 4. Now I feel physically sluggish and a little regretful. Look at the power in that. There is no shame, no guilt, no drama. There is only information. This data is pure gold. It tells you that your stress management tools might need sharpening. It tells you that meal prep on busy weeks is not a suggestion, but a requirement for your success. It tells you that you associate pizza with comfort, which is valuable information for understanding your emotional triggers. You just learned something profound about yourself. You didn't fail. You conducted a successful experiment. The stumble becomes a lesson, not a loss. This data, not drama, approach is the logical part of the equation, but it cannot exist without its essential counterpart, radical self-compassion. You cannot analyze data objectively if a drill sergeant is screaming in your ear that you're worthless. That inner critic has to be fired, and you replace it with the voice you would use for a dear friend. If your best friend called you distraught saying they ate half a pizza and ruined their diet, what would you say? Would you tell them they were a pathetic failure with no willpower? Never. You would say, "Hey, it's okay. You had a brutal day. That sounds really tough. Don't beat yourself up. One meal changes nothing. What can we do to make you feel better right now? Can you drink a glass of water? Can we go for a walk tomorrow?" You must learn to speak to yourself with that same kindness. Self-compassion is not an excuse. It is not letting yourself off the hook. It is the emotional salve that stops the bleeding. It's the tool that allows you to get back on the path immediately, instead of sitting in the mud of shame for 3 days. Shame paralyzes. Compassion mobilizes. This combination of data, not drama, and self-compassion leads to the ultimate resilience-building habit, the next right choice. The old mindset says, "I messed up breakfast, so the whole day is a write-off." The resilient mindset asks, "Okay, that happened. What is the next right choice I can make?" You ate the donut in the break room. The drama-filled voice says, "Well, screw it. I'll get a burger for lunch and pizza for dinner. The resilient voice, the compassionate scientist, says, that donut wasn't the plan, but it's done. The data is that I was hungry and unprepared. The next right choice is to have the healthy salad I packed for lunch and drink a big glass of water. You skipped your workout. The old voice says, you're so lazy. You've lost all your momentum. The new voice says, I was exhausted today. My body needed rest. The next right choice is to go to bed a little earlier tonight, so I have energy for my workout tomorrow. The next right choice is your secret weapon. It shrinks the timeline of failure from a day or a week down to a single moment. It means you are never more than one decision away from being right back on your path. A stumble is just a stumble. The very next step can be firm, confident, and pointed in the right direction. And this is where everything we've talked about in this entire journey comes together. The mindful eating practices, the hunger scale, the emotional awareness, planning for social situations, all of it. They are not a set of rigid rules that you can fail at. They are tools in your resilience toolkit. When you practice mindful eating, you are better equipped to notice the data. You can more easily distinguish between physical hunger and an emotional craving. When you understand your emotional triggers, you have better data on why you stumbled. When you have a plan for social events, you make the next right choice incredibly easy. You are building an ecosystem of support for yourself, not a prison of rules. This brings us to the ultimate reframe. The goal is not perfection. The goal is resilience. Success in this journey is not defined by never, ever having a piece of cake you didn't plan for. Success is defined by what happens after you eat the cake. Does it send you into a spiral of shame and a week-long binge? Or do you savor it, enjoy it, and then make another healthy choice at your next meal? No drama attached? The second option is freedom. That is what you are working towards. Not a number on the scale, but a sense of peace and trust with yourself. Your weight loss journey is not a 12-week sprint. It is the rest of your life. And life is messy. There will be holidays, vacations, stressful weeks at work, and sad days. Perfection is impossible and, frankly, undesirable. A life without spontaneous joy, celebration, and comfort is not a life well lived. The real victory is creating a way of eating and living that is so flexible, so forgiving, and so deeply ingrained that it can absorb those moments without breaking. It's about knowing with absolute certainty that you have the tools to navigate any situation. It's about ending the war between the part of you that wants to be healthy and the part of you that wants to enjoy life. You will finally realize they were never enemies. They can and must coexist. So let go of the wagon. Let go of the finish line. There isn't one. There is only the path today. There is only the next choice in front of you. The journey to a healthy, sustainable weight is not about the 10 pounds you want to lose. It's about the 100 small, mindful, compassionate decisions you make every single week. It's about the person you become in the process. Someone who is attentive, kind to themselves, and incredibly, unshakably resilient. This is not a diet. It is a practice. And it starts not on Monday, not tomorrow, but right now with your very next bite. Take a breath. Pay attention. Be kind to yourself. You have everything you need to succeed. Not by being perfect, but by being present. This is the path. Walk it.